Thanks for tuning in for the first 2020 edition of Forage Focus. This episode is special because we're taking you on a journey with us to the American Forage and Grasslands Council meeting in Greenville, South Carolina. Come on, let's go see what Greenville has to offer.
And my goal that we would at least build a farm that was big enough that if any one of the three wanted to come back, there would at least be a foundation there in which they could build upon.
So I'm here with Dan Lima, a guest who's been on the show before, and we're here in Greenville, South Carolina. Dan, what brings you to the AFGC conference?
Well, I'm really glad to be back here. It's a wonderful conference. One of my specialties is forages and pasture crops. Been involved in plenty of good research last year, and we're here presenting some of that research. Looking forward to making new research and hopefully coming back with some novel ideas that'll help not only our local producers but also give ideas and help out nationally as well, because this is a national conference.
My name is Gary Lacefield. I'm from Kentucky. I am retired from the University of Kentucky and now serve as Professor Emeritus. I have been associated with the American Forage and Grassland Council for about 50 years. Last year we celebrated the 75th anniversary of AFGC, and it's been a pleasure to go back and look over the 75-year history and see how changes have occurred, to help this industry serve the clientele better. Not only the farmers, but the industry as well and the public sector. So while I've been associated with it for 50 years, I had the opportunity to serve in a lot of different capacities, to get to know a lot of different people from throughout not only the U.S., but from other countries. So it's been a great pleasure being part of a great organization that continues to grow, continues to serve, and continues to do a better job of providing more programs for the clientele, primarily the farmers of this country.
My name is Don Baum. I live in Alabama. I was on the faculty at Auburn University as an extension forage crop agronomist for 35 years. And I've been retired for 9 years and still work with forage crops and livestock. Now I have a professor emeritus status with Auburn University. is my favorite organization. I've been involved with a lot of different organizations, but I really love this one because it's so down to earth. A lot of practical research and ideas are exchanged. And I love the fact that the American Forage and Grassland Council is comprised of producers, industry people, and also public servants such as university people. It's a great mix, and it's been a good organization for the 40 plus years that I've been involved with it.
My name is Chris Penrose. I'm a farmer and an extension educator for OSU, for the Ohio State University in Southeast Ohio. Also a professor there. I first got involved with AFGC back in the 90s, doing some presentations here at AFGC. I'm a founding member of the Ohio Forage and Grassland Council, and I was fortunate enough to be elected onto the board of directors, and now I am about to be the president-elect here of AFGC. Last year I had the great privilege of writing the 70th anniversary of the American Forage and Grassland Council, where I added on to the work that was originally done by Dr. John E. Baylor that published the first 50 years. So I was very honored to have the opportunity to update the history of this group, and I'm very grateful that Dr. Ball and Dr. Lacefield also reviewed that book for me. And I can't emphasize enough what Gary and Don both said. Is the great thing about this organization is the ability of the producers, the public sector, and the industry to all get together to exchange ideas and to learn from each other and do better for the forage industry.
I've often thought that you can judge the future of an organization by the makeup of the organization, and if that's the case, the future of the American Forage and Grassland Council is very bright, because at this conference we have more young people, more students, and more young people involved, and not only involved and participating, but actively involved through the Forage Bowl and other activities. I think the future of AFGC is extremely bright, just based on the young people involved, and not only involved, but very passionately involved.
We just had a discussion earlier today about this, Dr. Lacefield, that if there were just 50 old gray-haired people like us around there today, the organization would be in danger. But I guess I noticed that this year more than others, how many young people are here involved, how many people are doing some research, looking for a future into it, some of the universities that are represented focusing on forages. It really is exciting to get to see that.
I agree totally with that. And also, it's interesting that, through the years we've had a number of programs that have been kept going within this organization. We have a photo contest, we have paid judging, we have producer spokesperson contest, we have young scientist speakers, and the interest in those is not diminishing. In fact, if anything, I think it's up from what it used to be, and I think that's a really good sign.
And to even add on to what you're saying, this is the first year that we started the video contest.
Exactly.
And we had several entries with that, and so much of that was from our younger generation, some of the newer ones that we discussed earlier. So it really is exciting to see that.
That's right. Another thing, I've noticed that, regardless of how things are going as far as weather and animal prices and all that sort of thing, the people who attend these conferences are willing to share their experiences with each other. Here's how I dealt with the severe drought of 2019 or 2020, whatever. It's a place where people can come and they can visit with people who are in the industry and having some of the same kinds of problems, or see some opportunities that others can benefit from. It's worked for a long time.
And you couldn't be more right that it's worked for a long time. When I was going back through and trying to generate some of the history of the past 25 years, that was discussed at many other conferences, so you couldn't be more right.
One of the things that I personally always look forward to in attending this conference, and I've attended it throughout my career, is the awards banquet. That's usually the last night of the event, and that's the night where we recognize excellence among our membership. We recognize excellence with our students in competition, and then we present awards to those of our membership who have excelled. And it's always a pleasure to see my friends and my colleagues get that recognition, and we always learn a lot. It's always amazing to see just how much individuals in this organization have accomplished that I really didn't know. I knew they excel, but when we award them, then we read a lot about them and find out that they have excelled in so many areas, very deserving. So it's a highlight for me each year.
Well, there have been a lot of people that we've gotten to know through the years that contributed to AFGC in various ways. In fact, all three of us have been, Gary and I have been presidents. I think you're about to be a president.
And you're president-elect.
Yeah, and Chris, as I mentioned, he edited that history book, he wrote that. And you know, the thing I've noticed is that sure it takes time to do those sorts of things, but it's rewarding to do that, and you feel good about having done it. Plus, you make a lot of contacts within the industry. So it's been a pleasure for me to be involved with the FGC after the years.
Kenneth and Amy, it's so great to meet you guys here at the conference. Have you ever came to the AFGC conference before? No, this is our first time.
It's actually the first time too.
Great, are you having a great time? Yeah, it's really good.
Awesome. I love the food.
Oh yeah, no complaints about the food. This is definitely my favorite conference that we go to. So I hope that we'll see you again in Savannah next year.
Yeah, all in. We're always up for a southern getaway.
Hi, I'm Amy. I'm from Minnesota.
Oh, hi. I'm Kenneth too, but this time I'm from Nigeria. Oh, geez. We're also both from Dakota State University doing our masters right here. And my project is about biomass yield and botanical composition of forage mixtures for grazing. Just look at it as a grazing variety. Amy?
Yeah, I'm looking at winter survival with alfalfa, how different rates of potassium can help increase winter hardiness and decrease loss in the spring. In the year 2020, I guess I'm really looking forward to this following spring to see which of my treatments survive the winter, and we'll see how that takes off and continues with the research.
Oh, my own 2020 is to just have another year of doing the same project, because the first year was pretty shaky. We had 3 experimental sites and only one so far is really good. So we'll see how far the other 2 experimental sites work this time around.
So, you know, to have cover crops and then, you know, grazing cattle, but like even like, you know, if they have corn ground under pivots, you know, they're going to no-till into that, you know.
I'm here with Jarrod Hittle of Ohio Department of Agriculture. And Jarrod, it's a pleasure to see you here at the American Forage and Grasslands Council annual meeting and conference. Could you tell our viewers a little bit about what you do at ODA?
Well, like you said, I work for the Ohio Department of Agriculture, Division of Soil and Water Conservation. And a little bit of what I do, I work as a grazing specialist in southeastern Ohio, so I cover 16, 17 counties in that region. And I work with producers on implementing grazing plans and working with them to better improve forages on their farms, and also work with extension folks like yourself to put on grazing schools and pasture walks and help educate those producers in that area.
We're happy to work with you on those types of events. And just a general question for you. What are some things that you're looking forward to in 2020?
One of the goals that I've seen and something that I've tried to implement with the producers when I work with them on Gracie's plants is to implement warm season grasses into their rotation, whether they be perennial warm season grasses, your big blues, your Indians, or whether they be annual forages such as your sorghum Sudans or your pearl millets. But that's been something that has been a goal of mine and something I look forward to implementing with producers in 2020.
Great. I hope that you enjoy the conference.
It's been fun so far.
Coincidentally, I ran into another Ohio native here at the conference, Jonathan.
Nice to meet you again, Christine.
You too. You're now at the University of Tennessee, isn't that right?
That's right.
So what are you doing there?
Well, I'm a master's student working on organic forage projects. We're trying to transition producers from conventional operations to certified organic or low input settings by identifying the best forages that they need to grow.
That sounds exciting.
Absolutely. It's very inventive, creative, and challenging to be able to meet all of our production needs while also being restricted on many of our inputs.
So what exactly brings you to the conference this year?
Well, I'm here to actually compete in the Emerging Scientist competition, where I'm going to give the first production year of my study, which is going on in Spring Hill, Tennessee, and also try and meet and talk to a lot of producers from the Southeast and much of the Eastern United States.
Well, we wish you luck in the competition and the rest of your graduate program.
Shucks, thanks.
Before we round out this little interview, could you tell us something that you're looking forward to here in 2020?
I'm looking forward to another productive forage season and talking with producers back in Tennessee. One of the most important things that I find is that you just need to look down and see what's actually growing in your pasture. There are a lot of options, and especially when you're in a system where you'll have more than a few volunteers coming in, you need to choose, is this really a weed or will this still provide good forage for my livestock system?
Without further ado, this is the groundbreaking weed control solution that will enable producers to preserve desirable legumes like white clover, annual aspidisa, in their pastures while getting that enhanced broad spectrum weed control. So, without further ado, we have Proclova.
Before we get started, everybody in here can imagine what the headlines for today's meeting is going to be. Hancock's talk is total bullspit. And I've been over there practicing that because I didn't want that to come out wrong. I don't have a clue what John just talked about. I just been going over there. And y'all know, some of y'all were thinking that exact same joke. What happens, I've got the microphone, so I can say it. So, no, I do. I appreciate, when Scott called me to come give this talk, and, because it's an honor to get invited to be on this podium with the different speakers, And then I started putting this talk together, and I realized, maybe the reason that he asked me to do this was not because I am such an expert in terms of forage establishment. It's the fact that they were looking for the person that has made the most mistakes in terms of planting something, and they needed somebody that could tell you what not to do. And so, instead of being embarrassed with that, I've just embraced it. I am the world's expert in terms of failures of forage establishment.
And then Ethel says, why do we plant everything around hay making? And he doesn't like to pay for cattle hauling either. So he went out and he bought a 20-foot cattle trailer. He's thrifty. He paid $8,000 for it used. And he has a 2015 Dodge Ram 2500 diesel because you can't pull a 20-foot cattle trailer with anything smaller. But he financed that brand new because you need a good truck.
Right.
And it's just things like, sometimes I only need to take 2 or 3, and I'm not paying somebody to take 2 or 3 cattle off to the market at the time. I need my own trailer. And they'll say stuff like, well, it's convenient, and you need a good, dependable truck. And what does Ethel say? You paid how much?
This is Will Bowling, second place winner in the Forage Spokesperson contest, and he is from Kentucky. Well, thanks for taking a couple minutes to be on my show today. Can you tell us a bit about what you do in Kentucky and why you came to the conference this year?
Yeah, so my family and I have a kind of a diverse farm operation in southeast Kentucky. We do grass-fed beef and lamb, pastured pork, and then have a couple acres of vegetables as well that we're raising.
That sounds quite diverse. You got kids you're raising too?
No, we don't have any kids. I do have a few nieces, or a couple of nieces though, that do help out on the farm. So no kids of our own, but we do have a couple of nieces that help out and get out and play with the goats and the sheep and help out in the garden. So
that sounds like a lot of fun. And you do have kids, right? Because you have goats to graze those slopes.
That's exactly right.
I think sometimes they're better behaved than the other kids.
Probably so.
Well, I'm glad that you came to the conference and hope to see you next year in Savannah, maybe.
Yeah, it's been great. It's the first time I've ever came to this conference, but it's been a great learning opportunity. Met a ton of great folks who are very passionate about forages and livestock, and really learned a tremendous amount as well about all the new research that's going on and kind of being at the forefront of grazing and really how we can use forages. So I really enjoyed it. It has been great.
What would you say was your favorite thing about the conference, if you could pick one thing?
Yeah, probably just getting to meet new people. Both producers and the researchers, and just talking to folks about what they're doing on the ground and kind of how they're getting out there and mixing it up and really just talking to them and seeing how that's working out day to day. So by far, that's been my favorite thing.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us, and congratulations on your award.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Hi, Carl. I'm here with Carl Stafford, the incoming president of the American Forage and Grasslands Council. Carl, where do you come from?
I come from Culpeper, Virginia. I'm an extension agent there and have been for 35 years.
And what are you looking forward to most seeing from our organization in 2020?
So this organization's changing, and I think it's a key word in talking about what we represent and what we're about. Your group is a good example of change. We're younger than we were probably 10 years ago. We've got a greater gender diversity. The young women that are coming along are just showing us new ideas, new skill sets, and showing everyone in front of them examples of how they can change the way they do things.
And what is your role right here, right now?
I'm guarding the silent auction to keep people from changing their bids. Bidding's over with, and so now these folks are recording the bidding, and then the winners will be recognized for having won their silent auction fundraising item.
All right. Well, thank you for your time, Carl. We look forward to seeing you signed in as president tonight.
Thank you.
Hi, Mark. It's great to have you on the show, and I understand you're a past president of the American Forage and Grasslands Council. Isn't that right?
That's correct. I was president last year. Been a member for I don't know how many years. And one of the things I enjoyed during my president's role was meeting with some of the other councils that were a little struggling and working together with them to see if we could figure out some way to strengthen their council.
And what are you looking forward to seeing from our organization in 2020?
To keep growing stronger and to get more new councils, because it's that network out there in the field that's going to make the overall organization stronger.
Thank you for your time, Mark.
Thank you.
I'm here with the beef producer from Illinois, Jay. It's nice to meet you at the conference today.
Great to meet you.
Can you tell me a bit about what you do at home in Illinois?
Well, we raise cattle in Illinois, and of course, if you're from Illinois, you also raise corn, soybeans, and that type of thing. But our primary interest is cattle. So there are not nearly as many cattle in Illinois as there used to be, at least in small farms. So we're always looking for ways to get smarter about what we do. I got into rotational grazing just a little bit, and I like to come to this because I learned new ways of doing things, or ways of improving what we're doing, and maybe better forages to plant, that type of thing. So that's what we do. That's why look forward to an opportunity like this.
That's exactly what this kind of event is all about. So in our conversation earlier, I learned that you have served both on your state Forage and Grasslands Council and on the National Cattlemen's.
We've been involved with National Cattlemen. My wife Jean was on the Cattlemen's Beef Board for about 10 years. And at the state level, I was started out as sort of an ex officio member representing the Illinois Beef Association with the group, and then I just kind of got involved and stayed on with the grazing people for, I don't know, probably 10 years or so, and then sort of disappeared from it.
What would you say has been the favorite part of the conference so far for you?
Well, I enjoy listening to the various sessions, and I went to a session today that I thought was outstanding, and it isn't what you would expect. It was by a dietitian, and it was about, but it relates, because I'm a beef producer, and a lot of people in this world think you shouldn't eat beef or you should eat less of it. And the people I listened to in that session dispel some of those myths. That's not really true. That, so yeah, that would probably be my favorite part of what I was in for this conference, I would say.
Definitely a refreshing perspective, and I think it's refreshing to have a producer interviewed on our show. We don't get a lot of producers on my show, which is Forage Focus, and I'll make sure to share this link with you afterwards so that you can find it yourself. Thank you for taking a couple minutes to talk with me. It's been a pleasure.
And everywhere this person has worked, they've worked with integrity, they've worked with character, and the person has been a resource person for me. And now I have one more important thing before I announce. All that stuff about weightlifting is a bunch of bull. I just made that up. The recipient of the Vivian Allen Illumination Award is Mr. Mark Kennedy. Join me.
Cake judging contest, and that's something that I have never done as long as I've been here. Can you turn to the winner?
Aww.
I think we represent change, and I look out at the group and I can think about many kinds of change I see, and it starts with the age of our group. We're averaging down the area of agriculture. Now, I'm part of that change too, and Dr. Ball, it remains to be seen how good that'll be, but we'll see, and I'll do my best. But we're also changing our gender, which is a real good thing. We're getting more female, and that is super. In Extension in Virginia, the same thing's happening. It's happening in agriculture across the country. That's a good thing. And so when we change the makeup of groups, we change the outcomes of those groups. Another good thing. So we can look to that, those age changes and gender changes to bring us some new and unexpected outcomes. That'll be very interesting to see as we go along and go forward.
So next year's conference will be in Savannah, Georgia, the first week of January. So if we have Ohio producers out there that are interested in the conference, we would love for you to come along too. This conference is special because it incorporates all aspects of forages: extension, professional research, industry, and also producers. So we're all here together in one space conversing about what we like to talk about, forages.
Yeah, and I'll say another thing. This conference specifically really highlights local producers, and it's always great hearing from producers all over the country. Everybody does things a little bit different, and some of the best ideas and questions I've seen come from producers just like you, from all the parts of the United States to include Ohio.
Yes, they do. And something really cool, mark your calendars a couple years ahead of time. The International Forage and Grasslands meeting is going to be in Covington, Kentucky in 2023. So save the date in May and watch out for more announcements, and you could be a part of an international conference too.
That's right.
Thanks for tuning. Sorry. Keep going.
Okay.